Stephen King's take on 28 Days Later. Why the horror masterpiece scares in unexpected ways. ***. Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later shattered conventions when it premiered in 2002. Its depiction of fast, rage-fueled infected redefined the zombie genre and cemented the film's place as a modern horror classic. Garnering critical acclaim, an 87% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a devoted fanbase, 28 Days Later is hailed for its haunting portrayal of a post-apocalyptic world. However, horror maestro Stephen King, known for creating some of the most terrifying stories ever written, remains unconvinced about its impact, calling it intriguing but not genuinely frightening. King's opinion challenges traditional notions of what horror is, but upon closer examination, 28 Days Later proves its worth by exploring psychological terror, primal fears, and the fragility of humanity in unparalleled ways. ###Why Stephen King wasn't frightened by 28 Days Later. In a 2007 article for Entertainment Weekly, Stephen King admitted that while he liked 28 Days Later, the movie didn't terrify him in the way classics like The Blair Witch Project or The Witch did. There was nothing in 28 Days Later that came back to haunt me later that evening after the bedroom light was out, King wrote, referring to the film's lack of lingering, psychological dread. This critique highlights King's preference for slow-burn horror, where unease grows gradually and settles deeply into the viewer's psyche. His novel The Stand mirrors this methodical approach, spanning over 1,000 pages as it unpacks the apocalypse and its devastating psychological toll. Unlike 28 Days Later, King's preferred style leans on prolonged tension and unsettling ambiguity. Films like The Blair Witch Project and The Witch, which King openly admires, reflect this ethos with their atmospheric dread and subtle scares. In contrast, 28 Days Later opts for an adrenaline-fueled approach that King believes doesn't leave a lasting imprint. ###The fast-paced horror of 28 Days Later. Boyle's film eschews the slow build in favor of immediate, visceral terror. Its infamous fast-moving infected reimagined the genre, trading shambling, slow-moving zombies for frenzied, unrelenting predators. This sense of urgency is heightened by handheld digital cameras, which create an almost documentary-like immediacy, immersing viewers in a world where there's no time for reflection, only survival. From its opening scenes, where Cillian Murphy's Jim awakens to an eerily empty London, to its relentless chase sequences, the film continuously pushes the audience into fight-or-flight mode. Every encounter with the infected is a test of sheer survival, leaving little time for the lingering fear King values, but compensating with high-stakes tension. ###The deeper terror of isolation and collapse. While the infected may be the immediate threat, the real horror in 28 Days Later is the collapse of society and the psychological toll it takes on survivors. The emptiness of London's iconic landmarks, the breakdown of societal norms, and the ever-present danger of betrayal by other humans paint a stark picture of civilization undone. One of the film's most chilling sequences doesn't involve the infected at all. Major Henry West's unsettling plan to repopulate humanity, using women as breeding tools, forces viewers to confront humanity's potential for savagery when survival is at stake. This stark moral decay is as horrifying as the relentless infected outside their compound. Through characters like Selena, Naomi Harris, and Jim, Cillian Murphy, 28 Days Later explores the erosion of humanity in desperate times. Selena's ruthless pragmatism, contrasted with Jim's initial naivety, highlights the brutal compromises survival demands. Over time, Jim's transformation into someone capable of unspeakable violence underscores the loss of self that comes with living in an unrecognizable world. ###The duality of 28 Days Later as horror ***. King's critique that the movie failed to do its job overlooks its broader exploration of fear. While it lacks the creeping dread of traditional slow-burn horror, it compensates with a dual-layered approach, the immediate terror of physical survival and the haunting realization of societal fragility. The infected in the film symbolize more than just monsters. They represent humanity's vulnerability to chaos. The virus's rapid spread mirrors how quickly civilization can unravel leaving survivors to grapple not only with external threats, but also their own moral decay. Additionally, Boyle's use of silence and atmosphere adds an undercurrent of psychological horror. Scenes of Jim wandering the deserted streets of London are eerily quiet, amplifying the loneliness and uncertainty of the world. These quiet moments allow the terror of isolation to seep in, even as the infected loom in the background. ##### Why 28 Days Later deserves its place in horror history ****. Stephen King's perspective on 28 Days Later reflects his preference for introspective horror that leaves a lingering impact. However, the film's success lies in its ability to terrify on multiple levels, blending immediate, pulse-pounding action with profound commentary on human nature and survival. The movie redefined the zombie genre and pushed the boundaries of horror, delivering scares through its relentless pace while offering a sobering look at the fragility of humanity. While it may not fit King's ideal mold of horror, 28 Days Later endures as a masterpiece that continues to challenge and engage audiences over 2 decades later. For those seeking a traditional slow-burn experience, it might not resonate. But for anyone willing to confront the primal fears of survival, loss, and moral decay, 28 Days Later remains a hauntingly unforgettable ride.